Hello guys, in this lecture we are going to see the ozone layer and there are also depletion layer which concern with the environmental for energy audit and conservation. Let's start with ozone layer. What is ozone layer? The ozone layer or ozone shield is a region of Earth's stratosphere that absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation. It contains a high concentration of ozone, which is configuration of O3, in relation to other parts of atmosphere, although still small in relation to other gases in the stratosphere. The ozone layer contains less than 10 parts per million of ozone, while the average ozone concentration in Earth's atmosphere as a whole is about zero point 0.3 parts per million. The ozone layer is mainly found in the lower portion of stratosphere from approximately 15 to 35 kilometers above the earth. Although its thickness varies seasonally and geographically. The ozone layer was discovered in 1913 by French physicist Charles Fabry and Henry Buisson. Measurement of sun showed that the radiation sent out from its surface and reaching the ground on Earth is usually consistent with the spectrum of a black body with a temperature in the range of 5500 to 6000 Kelvin, or you can say 5227 to 5727 degrees Celsius. Except that there was no radiation below a wavelength of about 310 nanometer at the ultraviolet end of the spectrum. It was deduced that the missing radiation was being absorbed by something in the atmosphere. Eventually, the spectrum of the missing radiation was matched to only one known chemical, that is nothing but ozone. Its properties were explored in detail by British meteorologist GMB Dobson, who is developed a simple spectroscopy that called as Dobson meter that could be used to measure stratospheric ozone from the ground. Between 1928 and 1958, Dobson established a worldwide network of ozone monitoring stations, which continues to operate to this day. The Dobson unit, a convenient measure of ozone overhead, it is named in his honor. The ozone layer absorbs 97 to 99% of sun's medium frequency ultraviolet light from about 200 nanometer to 315 nanometer wavelength, which otherwise would potentially damage exposed life forms near the surface. In 1976, atmospheric research revealed that the ozone layer was being depleted by chemicals released by industry, mainly chlorofluorocarbons. These are very effective for depletion layer of ozone layer. Concerns that increased UV radiation due to ozone depletion threatened life on Earth, including increased skin cancer in humans and other ecological problems. The United Nations General Assembly has designated September 6, 2016 as International Day for the preservation of ozone layer. Venus also has a thin ozone layer at the altitude of 100 kilometers above the planet's surface. Now, sources of ozone layer. The photochemical mechanisms that gives rise to the ozone layer were discovered by the British physicist Sidney Chapman in 1930. Ozone in the Earth's stratosphere is created by ultraviolet light ordinary striking on ordinary ozone molecules containing two ozone atoms, that is O2, and splitting them into individual oxygen atom, that is ozone atomic oxygen. The atomic oxygen then combines with unbroken O2 to create the ozone, that is configuration of O3. The ozone molecule is unstable, although in the stratosphere long lived, and when ultraviolet light hits ozone, it splits into a molecule of O2 and an individual atom of oxygen, a continuing process that called the ozone oxygen cycle. About 90% of the ozone in the atmosphere is contained in the stratosphere. Ozone concentrations are greatest between about 20 to 40 kilometers, where the range from about 2 to 8 parts per million. If all the ozone were compressed to the pressure of air at sea level, it would be only 3 millimeter. That is 3 millimeter thickness, that is of 1 by 8 inch. This picture shows the ozone cycle layer, ozone oxygen layer, or you can say ozone oxygen cycle. Next is ultraviolet light. Although the concentration of ozone in the ozone layer is very small, it is vitally important to life because it absorbs biologically harmful UV lights or UV radiations coming from the sun. Extremely short or vacuum UV, that is having a wavelength of 10 to 100 nanometer, is screened out by nitrogen. UV radiation capable of penetrating nitrogen, which is divided into three categories based on its wavelength. These are referred as UVA, which is shown in the figure here. UVA, which is having a wavelength of 400 to 315 nanometer. UVB, this one, that is nothing but that is having a wavelength of 315 to 280 nanometer, and UVC, that is having a wavelength of 280 to 100 nanometer. UVC, which is very harmful to all living things, and it is entirely screened out by a combination of dioxygen and ozone by around 35 kilometers altitude. UVB radiation can be harmful to the skin, and it is main cause of sunburn. And the excessive exposure can also cause uh, cataract, immune system suppression, and genetic damage, which results in problems such as a cancer, skin cancer. The ozone layer, which absorbs from about 200 nanometer to 310 nanometer with a maximum absorption at about 250 nanometer, which is very effective at screening out UVB. For radiation with a wavelength of 290 nanometer, the intensity at the top of the atmosphere is 350 million times stronger than at Earth's surface. Ozone is transparent to most UVA, so most of this longer wavelength UV radiation reaches a surface and it consumes most of the UV reaching the earth. This type of UV radiation is significantly less harmful to DNA, although it may still potentially cause physical damage or premature aging of skin or indirect genetic damage and skin cancer. This first figure shows this first figure shows the UVB energy level at several altitude several altitude, and this blue line shows DNA sensitivity, and this red line shows surface energy level with 10% decrease in ozone. And the another figure shows here, which is nothing but this one, levels of ozone at various altitude and blocking of different bands of ultraviolet radiation. Essentially, all UVC is blocked by dioxygen or else by ozone in atmosphere. The shorter portion of UVC band and more energetic UV above this band cause the formation of the ozone layer. When single oxygen atoms produced by UV photolysis of dioxygen react with more oxygen, the ozone layer also blocks most but not quite all of the sunburn producing UVB. Next is distribution in the stratosphere. The thickness of ozone layer varies worldwide and it is generally thinner near the equator and thicker near the pole. Thickness refers to how much ozone is in a column over a given area and varies from season to season. The reasons for these variations are due to atmospheric circulation pattern and solar intensity. The majority of ozone is produced over the tropics and it is transported towards the poles by stratospheric wind pattern. In northern hemisphere, these patterns known as Brewer-Dobson circulation, which makes the ozone layer thickest in the spring and thinnest in the fall. When ozone is produced by solar UV radiation in the tropics, it is done so by circulation lifting ozone poor air out of the troposphere and into stratosphere where the sun photolyzes oxygen molecules and turns them into ozone. Then air, ozone rich air is carried to higher latitudes and drops into lower layers of atmosphere. Research has found that the ozone levels in the United States are highest in the spring months of April and May and lowest in October, while the total amount of uh, ozone increased moving from the tropics to higher altitude. The concentrations are greater in higher northern latitudes than in the high southern latitudes due to the ozone hole phenomenon. The highest amount of ozone are found over the Arctic during the spring months of March and April, but the Arctic has their lowest amount of ozone during their summer months of September and October. And the next is depletion and regulation of ozone layer. This first figure, this figure shows the NASA projection of stratospheric ozone concentration if chlorofluorocarbons had not been banned. The ozone layer can be depleted by free radical catalysts including nitric oxide, nitrous oxide, hydroxyl, atomic chlorine, and atomic bromine. While there are natural sources for all of these species, the concentration of chlorine and bromine increased markedly in recent decades because of release of large quantities of man-made organ halogen compounds, especially chlorofluorocarbon, chlorofluorocarbons, and bromofluorocarbons. These highly stable compounds are capable of surviving the rise to the stratosphere, where atomic chlorine and atomic bromine radicals are liberated by the actions of UV lights. Each radical is then free to initiate and catalyze a chain reaction capable of breaking down over 1 lakh ozone molecule. By the year 2009, nitrous oxide was the largest ozone depletion substance emitted through the human activities. The breakdown of the breakdown of ozone in the stratosphere results in reduced absorption of ultraviolet radiation. Consequently, unabsorbed and dangerous ultraviolet radiation is able to reach the Earth's surface at the higher intensity. Ozone levels have dropped by worldwide average of about 4% since the late 1970s. For approximately 5% of the Earth's surface around the North and South Pole, much larger seasonal declines have been seen. And about the regulation, to support the successful regulation attempts, the ozone case was communicated to layper, laypersons with easy to understand bridging metaphors derived from the popular culture and related to immediate risk with everyday relevance. The specific metaphors used in the discussion, that is ozone shield and ozone hole, and compared to global climate change, the ozone case was much more seen as a hot issue and imminent risk. In 1978, the United States, Canada, and Norway enacted enacted bans on CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbon, which containing uh, aerosol sprays that damage the ozone layer. The European communities rejected an analogous proposal to do the same. In the United States, chlorofluorocarbons continued to be used in the other applications, such as refrigerators and industrial cleaning, until after the discovery of the Antarctic ozone hole in 1985. After negotiation of the international treaty, the chlorofluorocarbon production was capped at 1986 with the levels with commitments to long-term reductions. This allowed for a 10 years phase in for developing the countries. Since that time, the treaty was amended to ban CFC production after 1995 in the developed countries and later in the developing the countries. Today, all the world's 197 countries have signed the treaty. Beginning January 1st, 1996, only recycled and stockpiled CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbons, were available for use in developed countries like the United States. The residual effects of CFCs accumulating within the atmosphere led a concentration gradient between the atmosphere and ocean. This organ, organohalogen compound is able to dissolve into the ocean surface water, and it is able to act as time dependent tracer. This tracer helps scientists study ocean circulation by tracing biological, physical, and chemical pathways. This is whole about the ozone layers, source of ozones, and regulations. Thank you very much.